Take 29.
Reach for this one.
If you're listening at work, I command you to do air guitar now.
Or air drums. We'll take that, too.
Air drums, air guitar. I know you've got your headphones on. The boss doesn't actually know you're listening.
Pop some air bubbles.
But we thank you for it.
You do it. Go crazy. Air guitar. Come on. Air drums. Air drums. Do it.
I didn't know that chord change happened right there. I've actually never heard the song Helter Skelter, I don't think.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
The Beatles.
Yeah, the Beatles took me a really long time to get into, and I am still not like... I'm maybe up to my knees.
They're kind of startup. I mean, what have they ever really done for music?
Gosh.
I understand that the Beatles basically stole everything from black people and then. No,
my God!
And then made everything. I mean, I know that the Beatles do a lot of stuff that you hear. Yeah. I'll hear the Beatles. I'll be like, wait a minute. Oh, this person nowadays does it, and the Beatles did it first or whatever.
That Bingo was an amazing drummer.
Bingo. Bingo was not his name. Oh. Welcome to the Twin Cities Hit Show. This is Rusty Gatenby, joined as always by
Chuck Gullip
and Courtney McLean.
Courtney, as seen on TV the other night. So we like that theme song. We're still, we're open to other theme songs. I know
Sean and I are supposedly.
Tim Mahoney, who's coming back tomorrow. Yeah. He's been thinking about it. See what you think about this one. See, it's a mashup. It's like our theme song is a mashup. Mm-hmm. Listen to this one. It's just one of those days where you don't want to wake up.
Lip Seinfeld.
It's just one of those days.
Oh my gosh.
It's just one of those days. Feel free to do air drums or bass at work now.
I'm so troubled by this one. Takes one of my favorite shows and one of my most angry songs and puts them together. I don't know if I'm coming or going right now. I don't know if I should hit people or cry.
Cry. I think that's a crier. My British cousin, my mother's nephew, Christopher, hates Seinfeld so much. Hates it. Doesn't think it's funny at all.
Yeah, could you turn my headset down too? It's a little loud.
And he always, whenever something's stupid, he's like,
better.
That's his thing. Making fun of the
Felicia.
Seinfeld.
Bye, Felicia.
My dog is named Newman.
Really?
After Newman.
And do you say,
hello
Newman?
I like Seinfeld. It is so weird.
I love Seinfeld. I love Jerry Seinfeld.
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Speaking of the 90s, here's what surfaced on the internet and it is trending. It's a voice from the past. Wisconsin Badgers, the recruiting tape they're putting together, and they're saying they found this is home movie that they found from, I think you'll recognize the voice from Saturday Night Live.
If you don't go to the University of Wisconsin, you're going to end up eating government cheese and living in a van down by the river.
Home video, Chris Farley just surfaced. And they're like, you should make that part of your Badger recruiting. As an alumni, as a former Badger, I say yes.
Yeah. Was he a Badger too?
He was, yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. Yesterday we talked about the news anchor who said jigaboo. Mm-hmm. In reference to Lady Gaga, the station in Cleveland, and I have that information somewhere on my magical computer. It was Fox 8 in Cleveland. They immediately yanked the video, off of YouTube, so you couldn't find it. But I did some digging, and I found it. Here's both the original mention and then her apology that she did yesterday morning. See if you buy. Well, first, here's what happened.
A lot of people last night with this tribute to the Sound of Music. Afterwards, Julie Andrews joined her on stage, gave her a hug, and called it wonderful.
It was
It's
wonderful.
very impressive, though, isn't it?
It's hard to really hear her voice
Lady Gaga.
with all the jigaboo music that she does, whatever you want to call it, jigaboo.
Yeah, she has a nice voice.
She said it twice.
It's really
Whatever you want to
hard.
call it.
Jigaboo music. She claimed she didn't understand the word, the meaning of the word, didn't realize it was a racist term. I tend to believe it, because why would you do that on the air? And your co-anchor is African-American. So I can't believe she's that idiotic. She is idiotic using a word that she doesn't know the meaning of. You know,
I've
why
married
would you
people like
just
that.
throw that word out if you... She must have thought it meant something else. Anyway, here's her apology. They also yanked the apology off YouTube, but I found it.
What?
Nicely done, detective.
Found it. Here's what she said yesterday live, and see if you believe it. See what your
Patty,
reaction.
thank you. I just want to take a moment to address a comment that I made yesterday that got a lot of attention. It's important for me to let you know that I deeply regret my insensitive comment, and I truly did not know the meaning of the word and would never intentionally use such hurtful language. I sincerely apologize for using that language and promise to learn from this, and I hope you will give me that chance.
Yeah,
No.
you know,
Ooh,
it's just one of those
her
unfortunate
anchor,
things
who's
that
black,
happen.
chimes
And
in.
it happens to everybody. And yeah, I've been working with you for three years, so I think I know your heart, and you know, and I know you didn't mean it.
Cracker.
And you know, and I also know your family. You and your whole family came to my ordination at you know, inner city church.
kinda
in
tears
the
up a
city
little
of
bit
Cleveland,
here.
and
Yeah.
She cracked
y'all
at the
had a
end there.
great time. So I know that you didn't mean it.
Her voice
And,
cracked at the end.
So
You can
you
tell
know,
it was-
my thing
She was
is,
emotional.
it's, you know, you learn from it, you move on, and it's I think it's time for just to forgive and move on. And my prayer is that our viewers forgive and move on, because she's a good girl. She really, really is. And
I'm
this is
into
so
it.
hack. I don't
that,
like
knowing.
it.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
It's just when things
No.
happen, but,
Thumbs
No,
down.
Chuck?
I vote no.
Still my partner.
Fire her.
Still my partner. If he's willing to forgive her, I'm willing to forgive
Still
her.
my sister from another mister.
You know,
She was on the air. They didn't yank her off the air. She was not
Yeah.
suspended, and I'm like, okay.
No, I mean, it's fine. But come on. This whole apology was
hey,
gross.
you know what? Well, I think, you know, they've both broken through a couple of tissues, you know, and I use that as a phrase, like it's, you know, you in your life, you have a tissue and you break through it and you're on the other side and you're like, how did I not know to be on this other side? Do you know what I'm saying? Anyway, so she is now broken through a little tissue
Did you
in
do
her
a
life.
bong hit before you came in?
Always. And she is now broken through that, and she's now on the other side, and she knows. And now she's
Yeah.
like, okay, language is something I need to be a little more sensitive about.
Language. Now, this just in
Language.
from Albuquerque, New Mexico, an anchor who is not in this morning from KOB. Let's get the details. A longtime KOB anchor, I want to say his name is Tom Joles. A fist fight in the newsroom. Sources say that just before the 6 p.m. news yesterday, primary anchor Tom Joles got into it with a reporter and a photographer. According to insiders, the young reporter was being counseled by the news director, and that wasn't good enough for Joles, and he added his own comments, and then they started having a fist fight in the newsroom. That's yeah.
That sounds real.
Wow. Yes. When the fight was stopped, Joles was called into Donaldson's office. He came out about 10 minutes later, grabbed his stuff. They both walked out together. Now today, wow, that was a long fight. Jiminy
Wham,
crickets.
pow, kapowie.
How did the Foley guys decide that that's what a punch sounds like?
The news now. This morning, the general manager said there were no fisticuffs. However, Tom Joles is off the air this morning to have a cool down period, and there
You're
is
sitting
no,
in the corner, young
Yeah.
man. Time
and,
out.
And there is no date given when he might return. So they claim no one was punched, but something went down. If your main anchor is suspended, giving a quote unquote cool down period. I guess, Brian Williams is having a cool down period. Anyway, tensions are high in the newsroom. I can attest to that. No high tensions here, though.
No. Because we all just had bong hits. Not all of us, not Rusty.
Did you? Before, we're going to be calling Jim Suhan. No, I did not. We're going to be calling Jim Suhan down in Florida here in spring training. He wants to talk about, and he's probably going to rub it in about how wonderful the weather is down there, first of all. But he's got his hit show on the Alive and Social Network, so we're going to find out what he's got planned for the show. Are you gonna be dialing that?
Whenever you're ready.
I'm ready. So here we go. Cross your fingers, everyone. The Twin Cities hit show. We don't do a lot of phone. We've only done one so far, and it worked.
Yeah, and it worked. It sounded great.
Oh, technology.
This sounds pretty good.
I hear one ringy dingy.
Two ringy dingies.
What if he's like in a hotel room? Is this Jim?
This is Jim.
Jim, it's Rusty Gateby. You're on the Twin Cities hit show. And you realize if you say that fast, it does sound like shit show. I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is.
It doesn't necessarily have to be a distinction
there. First of all, go ahead. You're down in Florida. What's the weather like?
Well, I don't know how to make you feel better about this. The first day I was down here, it was 83 and sunny. It was spectacular. Today and yesterday, cloud cover, maybe hovering in the low 70s, a little threatening rain. So it's brutal. I don't know how.
It does sound brutal. What are you going to be able to do down there and have on your show?
I am going to, I'm doing a remote with Michael Russo. We do one a week. Our hockey writers start doing.
Oh, yeah.
I'll do that this afternoon from the press box here. And then I got Tory Hunter lined up for tomorrow.
Ooh.
Terry Ryan, Eddie Guardado, Rob Anthony, the assistant general manager, maybe Glenn Perkins. All those people have agreed to do them. I'm trying to fill out a schedule as we speak, and then maybe we'll mix in a surprise guest or two later too. And even if you're not a huge Twins fan or baseball fan, it is nice that we are talking baseball right now in winter. I do like that. Well, it's funny. I was talking to some people from. I lived in Texas before I came to Minnesota in 1990, and when you live in Texas. And the Texas Rangers start spring training in Florida or Arizona, it's not that big a deal. It's guys, it's people going to another warm weather spot to watch baseball, which you do it for the baseball if you live in Texas. For us, it's such a big symbolic thing. When pitchers and catchers report, I really think we cover the heck out of spring training because people crave everything about it. They crave the symbolism of an impending spring. Mm-hmm. They crave baseball. They crave thoughts of sunny days at Target Field.
Yes.
They crave pictures from Florida of sunshine
and green grass, all that stuff.
Green grass, all that stuff. It's great. And all the things I get to do. I get to do a lot of great stuff. Cover
Bastard.
Cover Super Bowls. Listen, I have a great gig. I get to do tons of stuff, but spring training is still my favorite thing to do.
Who's going to have a bigger impact, Tory Hunter with the Twins or Kevin Garnett with the Timberwolves?
That's a really good question, and it kind of depends on what you're looking for. To me, Kevin Garnett was not brought back to be a player.
Yeah.
Kevin Garnett was brought back to be a future owner, a part of their culture, and a mentor for Wiggins and the other younger players. So I think Kevin Garnett could be a terrible player for that organization and still have a great impact on that organization. Tory's different. Tory is, if anything, an even more active mentor than Garnett. First time I saw Tory down here, I went over to his locker. We were having a long BS session. Best guy I've ever covered. And he starts, as I wrote about this morning, he starts basically lecturing Byron Buxton on, you better listen to me, I'm in your ear, I'm in your head. He's already, he's sitting next to two first-round draft pick center fielders, Aaron Hicks and Byron Buxton. They are following him around like ducks right now. But Tory was also brought here to be a productive, everyday player. So while Garnett could be a terrible player and still be a positive impact, they do expect Tory to be at least a reasonably productive player for him to have value here.
And how old is Tory Hunter now? 57, 58?
Well, no, that would make him older than me, and as I've mathematically covered, nobody's older than me. So, he is 40.
Okay.
If I have my numbers right, he's 40. And look, the interesting thing is, when Tory looks at the Twins, I know a lot of people in the organization. I thought this way. I know a lot of other players thought this way. I thought, God, here's a guy who's played on hard turf. The turf in the Metrodome was brutal on people's knees and backs before they renovated. Here's a guy who's played on brutal turf, who has run into way more walls than any human being should ever run into, who is a good, very good player, but not a superstar. Man,
he's not going to have that long career. Maybe you better not invest in him. And here he is at age 40. The thing about Torrey is, I've known him since his first day in big league camp in 1993. He is just a maniacal worker. I talked to him this morning. They built a hill on the minor league side here at the spring training complex because hill training, running up hills, sprinting up hills, it's like one of the great things any athlete can do.
You should be embedded, Jim. You should do that. Do the hills with him.
I've worked out with Matt Burke before, and he made me throw up. I think Torrey would make me throw up even more. I might actually do that with him. Torrey would let me. But here's Torrey. It's a week before he's required to be here, and he's out doing the hardest exercise there is, which is running sprints on a hill. That's just who he is. And he and Garnett, it's easy to look at him and say, boy, really talented guys, first-round draft picks. They were due to have success. But Torrey had tons of failures in the minor leagues, tons of failures in the major leagues before he clicked. Garnett was a skinny high school kid who could rebound. These are two guys who made themselves what they are today with sheer work ethic and desire. And it sometimes sounds like a cliche when you use those phrases in sports.
Yeah.
It's not a cliche with these two guys. These guys are workers.
All right. Well, should we be excited about the Twins?
You should be excited if you have any modicum of patience left in you.
Okay.
Because
so no.
I think they will be better this year, but they won't be great this year. I think this is the step ladder year. This is the year they start being more competitive. Maybe they play meaningful games in August and/or September. I think they'll be more professional. I think they'll be more fun to watch. I think the pitching staff will be better. But until Buxton and Sano are, not only in the major leagues but ready to play well in the major leagues, that's what they're trying to build for. They want to have a good team ready for Buxton, Sano when those guys are ready to be stars, and then, between Buxton, Sano, Santana, Vargas, Meyer, they have, basically Baseball America, the Bible of the minor leagues, rates from the second best farm system in the majors. They might have the best high-end prospects in Buxton, Sano, and Meyer. They're trying to become a good team that will be put over the top when those guys arrive, but that will still require a little bit of patience.
Yeah.
Jim, I'm a big football fan, and I swear we could take this conversation about the Vikings, change the names, and you just had the same conversation I've heard every year about the Vikings. It's a building year.
But there's a different sport, though.
Yeah.
In baseball, you draft a high school kid. Like Torrey Hunter, it took Torrey Hunter 8 years to be a good major league player. 8 years after they drafted him. Aaron Hicks, they still haven't given up on him, even though he's been terrible for 2 years in the big leagues after being in the minor leagues for 5 years or whatever.
Wow.
The patience required in baseball is different. Football, you hire the right coach, you get the right quarterback, you can be in the playoffs the next year.
Well, that's our motto.
Be really good next year.
That's our motto with the hit show. You got to have patience with this show. Give us a chance. Yes.
And that's the problem. When you ask for patience, you sound like so many people who don't know what they're doing will ask for patience. But the Twins, I think, actually have a good plan in place. It just does take some time.
Well, and last question, most important: will you have room service or go down to the pool to have the buffet?
Well, actually, we're staying in a house. We call it Casa de La Belle. Well, Neil, our baseball writer, Fort Myers. So we're staying in a nice house. I just haven't done much down here. I spend so much time at the ballpark. The days are so long. I haven't done a lot of fun. So I can't really give you any great, wild party stories, but I'll try.
All right. You try and report back. Otherwise, we'll listen to you today and all week. How long will you be down there?
I'm going to be down here like March 9th, March 10th.
Oh.
Okay. All right.
Nice.
Well, you're right. You got a good gig, you bastard.
I know. And you know what? I just want to make this clear. I'm really fine with, people say don't talk about me behind my back. I'm really fine with you guys talking to me. I'd much rather you call me a bastard after I've had a
Oh, sorry. All right. Well, we'll do that too.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jim, for joining us this morning. Have fun down there.
See, to me, I don't even care if the Twins are good because baseball is a social sport. Like going to the Twins stadium and hanging out, and they have so many amenities there with drinks and
the ballpark.
Yeah, the ballpark. It is, and it's an experience. I just feel like going to see baseball is a very social thing, as opposed to going to see football, where you're really invested in what's happening on the field. But
Right.
baseball moves so slowly.
But
so
that
who cares?
that new football stadium though is going to be cool. Have you seen what? Have you driven down by downtown?
I have seen it, but
It's
you know,
soaring out of the ground like this huge. Oh, thing.
That is going to be amazing.
I did some voiceover for the Audubon Society because they're really concerned about the migratory birds that will
screw them.
Yeah. I'm not into that at all.
Cue the bird sound. You were doing. Thank you. You were doing. Oh, that's the birds hitting the window. Oh. It's a beautiful stadium. All right, we got a couple of things we're going to do before we take a break. First of all, coming up in the next half hour, we're going to be hearing from a voice artist. Yeah. How do we?
He's the king of voiceover.
The king of voiceover.
Here's one he did for a CCO. Just to give, he does movies, and here's one he did for CCO.
They're cute. They're playful. And they're taking over.
We have way too many of them.
They'll attack you.
They kind of get more aggressive.
So what is the squirrel situation? Let's find out tonight at 10.
The squirrels. Did you see Christina Aguilera and Jimmy Fallon imitating Britney Spears?
No, but I heard about it. I
actually
hear it?
Knew.
Yes. Yeah.
They do a bit. Well, Jimmy Fallon does a lot of games and bits. So one of them is you spin the wheel of music impressions. So it spins around the artist, and it stopped on Britney Spears. And then the song she had to sing was Three Little Pigs. And she was a gamer. Here's Christina Aguilera imitating Britney Spears singing Three Little Pigs.
This little piggy went to the mall again.
Wow.
This little piggy stayed home. This little piggy ate roast.
That's amazing.
That's off the cuff. I love it. That is awesome.
I wonder if Britney gets pissed about that.
Oh no, I'm sure she was laughing.
She strikes me as very level-headed.
See, that's the thing is that I really think our culture pits these big pop stars against each other because they're both blonde ladies. But I'll bet Tina and Britney are cool.
I hope so. Well, Britney, has been known to have mental issues. So
No.
Well,
here's Jimmy Fallon do a David Bowie.
Who doesn't? Yeah.
You're a grand old flag, you're a high fly, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, home of the free and the brave.
Wow.
Nice. He is a talented dude.
I waited on Jimmy Fallon once when I was working. I was working in New York at a cute little country place, and he ordered a black cherry soda, and he was so nice. Yeah, he was a really, really nice guy.
I have one more that you talk about pitting each other against each other. Let me see if I can find it. Have you heard about this one, Chuck? This pro wrestler. I guess he's like one of the top wrestlers. I'm trying to find his name. He challenges Jon Stewart.
Oh, I have.
And Jon Stewart responds on the internets. Here we go.
Future. You know, that word actually is starting to become a little passé, gentlemen. Because right now, I am the most talented performer in the entire world.
It was during a WWE broadcast where they fill stadiums.
Love it.
Right now, I am the most valuable asset in all of WWE.
I forget.
Who cares?
I didn't recognize his name.
Right now, I'm untouchable. I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, and there's nobody and nothing that can stop me.
Richard Sherman.
And then all of a sudden he has an aneurysm.
I could become president. I could become president. I'm not even old enough to run for office. Or, I could take over as host of The Daily Show for Jon Stewart and make that thing actually watchable.
So John goes on the internet, does a little selfie, and here's John's response.
Seth Rollins.
You
made a lot of mistakes in your life. This is the biggest mistake you ever made. By coming after The Daily Show. You just stepped in a world of hurt, my friend. A world of hurt that even your buddies at J&J Security aren't going to be able to save you from. I'm coming for you, Rollins. And you're going to see it. 160 pounds of dynamite.
God, Jon Stewart weighs as much as I do.
He goes on to say, well, not dynamite, kind of like balsa wood. Did you guys watch the Power Rangers at all?
Oh my God, loved the green Power Rangers.
Kids watch them.
Yes, I used to in high school.
Yeah,
the old ones. Wait, is this about the Red Power Ranger?
No,
okay.
So this is the from the TV show. When was Power Rangers on?
I remember. I mean, it was the early 90s.
Yeah. So this is the theme song from the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Trending on the internet, someone has made a 15-minute version of a gritty Power Rangers, like full-on, big-budget movie. James Vanderbeek plays one of the Power Rangers.
What?
So here's a comparison. You hear this, go, Power Rangers.
Yeah.
You know, it's all goofy and sticky, and the monsters are all kind of rubbery and stuff.
But that
trending on
shredded.
video. Of course, this is a radio show.
Rubbery.
Here's how it sounds, though. I'll give you
an ugly color on you.
I prefer pink.
If dying is what you choose to do here today, I would prefer you did it with your dignity intact.
How soon after the truce did you turn? Did you even wait until we were disbanded?
The second the machine empire integrated their technology into our society.
It's intense, right?
Whoa, yeah.
This is the Power Rangers.
Word I could use.
I followed the only rule worth following in this fuckskin.
And they
made sure I was on the winning
It's about to
side.
hit the fan.
Which is why I'm sitting here and you're chained to a chair. It's comfortable.
You were
Power
never really
Rangers.
one of us.
It is. This show freaked me out in the first place.
Thank you.
I mean, it gets bloody. This is a
wow.
They're getting sprayed with machine guns.
My poor children.
It sounds like someone could probably make some money off of
Oh wait,
this. Let's do it.
I'm sorry, that was a sound from the newsroom in KOB. Anyway, we're going to be taking a break because we're going to again try another phone call, and we're going out to Hollywood this time, right?
Hollywood.
We're going to Ben
Patrick Johnson.
Ben Patrick, the man with three names. Former, he grew up in Minnesota, but he's had a career in Hollywood doing great things. So we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get Ben on the phone. It's just one of those days.
Everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you want to justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact. And if you interact.
MacMen. Don't let your computer problems drive you mad. We are MacMen, Minnesota's premier tech consultants and problem solvers for Macs, mobile devices, troubleshooting, training, and much more. No more dragging your computer all over town because we come to you. We love making house calls to your home or small business. MacMen. Call 612-345-8005. The Alive and Social Network is alive and growing. From the best in sports, music, movies, and beer, Alive and Social is what all the cool kids click on. Featuring characters like radio rebel Jeff Dubay, Star Tribune pundit Jim Suhan, Unfiltered, and television veteran and handsome man Rusty Gatenby. You can also taste the Minnesota Pubcast with Jason and Molly. Join the band with live band karaoke night from legendary O'Gara's in St. Paul and the live music showcase from Shamrocks. Yes, Alive and Social Network does indeed rock and roll. The Jeff Dubay Show, Jim Suhan Unfiltered, the Rusty Gatenby Review, the Minnesota Pubcast with Jason and Molly, live band karaoke, and Shamrock's live music showcase. Join the fun. Be alive and social with the Alive and Social Network.
I don't know why people should listen to this show, because I've never been a self-critiquer, and I've never been somebody who goes back and listens to my own work, so I don't have a fucking clue if I'm any good. I know that we have fun, and I know that Scott knows what he's talking about, and McGovern is a hipster doofus he's arrogant enough to sell what he's saying, whether it's right or not. So, you'll walk away from it thinking you got something out of it, and whether you did or not, I don't really give it, because it's not like there's a receipt. It's not coming with a gift receipt. You're not getting your money back on it.
We're going to have to redo this. No, I like this. All right, and where do you find this wonderful show?
A narcissist in me would tell you to go to jeffdubay.com, but I think just for mass appeal, I go to iTunes and iHeartRadio.
This is Tim Mahoney. You're listening to Twin Cities Hit Show. the third best show in Waconia.
What are the
I
other
think we
two?
moved up to number 2, though.
Did we? The latest
We may
research?
have, yeah.
Our friend Tim Mahoney, who's coming in tomorrow.
Yeah.
He liked it so much the last time. He said, hey, can I come in again? I said, the door is always open, Tim. If you want to come in whenever, come on in.
It's freezing in here. Please, come in.
That's true. We didn't turn on the space heater this morning.
Oh, I thought I did.
Is it on? Oh,
I don't
okay,
know.
good.
It says 71.
Oh, that's nice.
So
We should be ringing
It's
here.
not. Oh, yeah, we're calling Ben Patrick Johnson.
In a world.
In
where
he's
a
in
little twinsies-
Hollywood. Here's an example. Well, we're trying to get him. Do you think you got him? Otherwise, I can play some examples of his work.
Oh my gosh. There we go. Okay. Hey, Ben.
Hello, sir. How are you?
Good. How are you? Good morning.
Fine. I would love to talk this whole segment about the weather because I'm feeling very gloatish right now here in California.
That's
in,
just
Hollywood.
that's just rubbing it in, man. That's just not even right.
Yeah, exactly. And I like you guys, so I'm just going to move right on and let you drive the topics of this, Jeff.
Right on. Well, you grew up with me, sort of, in St. Paul, Minneapolis area, and you haven't been here in a long time, other than a few occasional visits. Tell us about.
Yeah, I pop in from time to time when there's big family stuff that has to go, but yeah, it's tough because I think I have still all the Minnesota nice and the ethic and all that, all the kind of the good stuff and the false humility and the shame and the anyway, there I go. But by the same token, I've lived all my adult life in Hollywood, and so I feel at home both places, but particularly now in Hollywood, which is odd because as we were growing up in Highland Park and St. Paul, I really wouldn't have predicted that I'd be Hollywood. There I am.
Ben, this is Rusty. When did your voice become so deep and masculine?
Well, it's interesting because it was always unusual. And I remember when I was a very little kid, them taking me in. I remember the hearing testing and the raise your hand and do you hear a beep and that. Turns out what that was all about when I was little was that when kids who are very young speak in an unusually deep or resonant voice, it can be because they have some hearing impairment and that they're trying to modulate their voice to a place where they can, hear themselves. But turns out I heard just fine, and it was just that I had this contraption in my throat, whatever, that produced these sort of larger than normal sounds.
I'm going to let people hear some of your work. Check this out. Here we go. Let's see if you can hear it. This is from Night at the Museum. So there's a lot of action going on with Ben Stiller. What I love is Ben gets to say literally like 2 sentences and get paid a ton of dough. Here it comes. Action, action, action.
Night at the Museum.
Yeah, isn't that great?
And one more.
Own It Tuesday.
Bam! Night at the museum.
It's a double-edged sword because you get the same paycheck.
Yeah,
whether you
perfect.
do
I love it.
words or whether you read the whole freaking phone book, but there's this trend, and there used to be voiceovers in every trailer that you would see. You'd see one and the next and the next in the theaters. Now you usually don't hear a voiceover in the trailer itself.
Yeah,
that's true.
You just see it on the TV spots or on the radio spots for the movie. But there are now even some TV spots without voiceovers, so we're all horrified.
I was going to say, are you
the
scared?
worst thing we've ever. So we want to talk as much as we can.
Well,
secure our place in the world.
Back in 1993, Chuck, I don't even know if you know this, but Ben actually did a radio show. He was a night owl for Denny's. Yeah. Here, listen to this. Listen to this.
On Denny's Till Dawn, the only talk show on the air totally dedicated to the nation of the night.
Fast
3 million
food.
Americans who work, play, or just can't sleep. The night.
Moons over my hammy.
You had what, Ben?
No, that wasn't me. That was someone else made the guess.
You guys,
comments though about that.
you got to look it up on YouTube. He sounds great. He looks great, but he borrowed Fabio's wig.
Oh, that's nice. Perfect.
You know what? I've got to use that for Throwback Thursday. That commercial.
Yeah.
Sometime soon.
This
Throwback Thursday. Is it just pictures or can I use video as well?
Oh yeah, whatever.
Video, yeah.
As long as it's tagged TBT.
You could have been Thor. I mean, that was a rocket look you had going there.
Thank you. I weigh like 9 pounds, but it was a lot.
I love too the stuff that you have that you can find on YouTube. When you worked for Extra, you got to interview some big people, and we'll play just a snippet of this. It's
okay.
What's the best thing about being Robert Redford?
Hello, Robert Redford.
Hello.
Probably the best thing is that
whatever power it gives you, and you were talking about Robert Redford as persona. We're not talking about Bob.
Mm-hmm.
Because Bob's...
I'll ask you about Bob in a
another
minute.
guy.
Bob, another guy. We'll ask about Bob in a minute.
But about being...
Were you starstruck when you worked for Extra?
I was a little bit, although I learned something really interesting about celebrity and movie stars and things like that I really kind of wasn't expecting. And that was, I was talking about being young and growing up and never thinking I'd go to Hollywood. But there's a part of me that yearned for celebrity. Then when I actually got out here and saw what it walked like and talked like, and through the eyes of people that were famous, because I was around them, I saw the ugly side of it, how someone who has a certain amount of fame or notoriety loses all of their anonymity. Yeah. And to did you casually consider that? It's sort of like, so what? It's part of the job. No, that's vital. Being able to go to the supermarket and just do what you want to do, or the Starbucks, or God help it if you have a little fender bender car accident, or anything that happens out in the world, you are just stared at and you have every eyeball on you, and can be the most uncomfortable and awful thing that there is, to the point where people just feel hostage. So I feel blessed that I have some recognition within my own industry, but that for the most part, I can go down the street and no one gives a hoot who I am, and so I feel like I have the best of all worlds.
People stare at Chuck just because he's weird looking.
Yeah.
See, I was going to say, I would stare, Ben, I would stare at you because, this is Courtney, I'm the third host. I would stare at you because you are a beautiful person.
Well, and you kind of walk with your feet in both camps, because you are pretty recognizable. You're pretty outspoken about some social issues, and I'm sure you want to talk about that.
Well, in fact, Extra, your career ended because you told them. Did you tell them, or you were outed that you were gay?
Well, it had something to do with me bringing my boyfriend to the company picnic.
Yeah.
His hand and stuff.
What year was that,
24, it was completely socially unacceptable at that time in that environment. But it wasn't. People say, "Oh, you were so brave." No, I was just brash.
Yeah.
I just kind of did whatever the hell I wanted to. I really wasn't thinking of consequences at that point.
Did you even think that someone would fire you over that?
No, I truly, because that wasn't my experience. I'd come from working in talk radio, which was at times, could be a conservative talk station, but boy, what is embraced is a variety of opinion and being outspoken. So my being gay and this and that and, shouting about it, when I was first at KSTP in Minneapolis and then at KABC out here in Los Angeles, it was just not a thing. That was just part of my resume, part of my shtick, if you will. Move over on the television side, and at that point to Warner Brothers in the mid-1990s, and it was literally like a curse. They would take these meetings with me and would say, how are we going to deal with the problem?
Oh, good God.
Wow.
The problem. Let's not name it, but let's just discuss it.
In the 90s, yeah. Wow.
Hey, in the 90s, mid-90s.
What did you? Have you ever watched Mad Men? The show?
Yes, I have.
I love how they attack that problem. I can't remember the guy's name, but Saul, what was his name? The gay character, like 2 seasons
I want to
in.
call him Trevor because he looked just like my ex-boyfriend, but that's not his name.
Your ex-boyfriend may have been gay.
He looks like my dog.
Yeah. But I love how they address that, because it really frames nicely into the context of what we were dealing with in the 90s and what you were dealing with, because you knew as the viewer that this guy was gay the whole time. You're like, oh, yeah. My gaydar is up. He is gay, gay, gay. And then they addressed it, and I love how they do it. They frame it so well, and it really turns it into a social issue within that show. That was really cool.
Yep, yeah. And I think they did an effective job with that.
Yeah, it gets the message out.
Were you were you out when you were in high school, growing up in Minnesota? Did Chuck know you were gay?
I had a boyfriend. Yeah, I was kind of noodling with coming out. I came out like between junior and senior year in high school, and I had a boyfriend senior year in high school there at Highland Park. I don't know how many people were aware of that.
I want to know who, but you told me off there.
No, I can tell you. I'll tell you because he's quite out. Daniel Cooper. Dan Cooper was my first.
He was one of my best friends. I didn't know that. I used to ride around his Hearst limo thing.
There
oh my
go.
God! Yeah, we're totally Facebook friends now. Oh my God!
Totally.
Yeah. No shit. Okay. Wow.
has kids and with same-sex partner, and he's living his life in that.
Yeah.
And,
Well,
look at us, both out functional adults.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
I
Yeah.
must say, doing my research, and we've been so busy, I didn't have a lot of conversation about you, but looking up on YouTube, and then I came across your message about it's okay, or what's the message? There was a
gets
campaign.
better?
It gets better.
Uh-huh.
That was my first clue. Oh, he's gay. My gaydar must be broken because you didn't strike me as a gay person.
That's why I'm coming in like Pearl Harbor on you, Gatenby.
Ben,
oh wow.
Ben, I would
I'm
like.
not,
Oh.
my husband, who is from Hawaii, and happens to be terrified of drag queens, seems to just want to come up with all kinds of sort of raunchy drag queen names for himself. And, the raunchiest and funniest one he's come up with recently was his drag queen name would be Pearl My Harbor.
Love it. I love it.
Hello. If you don't get it, don't ask your parents.
Ben, what is
You'll get it in 10 years.
what is the political climate like in California right now for gay rights? I mean, Prop 8, we got rid of that, right? The Supreme Court overturned
It's
it?
gone.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
great.
we have marriage. It's interesting because what we see in California very much mirrors what you guys experience in Minnesota.
Oh, really?
In that, in the largest urban areas, obviously Minneapolis, St. Paul, and to a certain extent Duluth, and I would say the same thing with Los Angeles, San Diego, San Francisco. Hey, it's great to be gay. Isn't that wonderful? Let's march down the street and clap our hands. But then you get out into the more agricultural areas and the more socially conservative areas, religious-driven areas, and you see, again, a mirror of non-acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in California, we are a blue state, but there's big whole chunks of just bright red.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's quite that stark in Minnesota, but you certainly do see a difference between Minneapolis, St. Paul, and then out, in the farm country with the bachelor Norwegian farmers.
I'm going to name drop here, but my friend Steve Levitan created the show Modern Family, and he has 2 strong gay characters on that show. It's in its, I believe, 6th or 7th season.
Yeah.
Do you think that has helped? Do you think that has helped America come to grips with it? A popular show with 2 gay characters.
I think inevitably it does.
Yeah.
Because it helps to normalize that which is actually normal.
Mm-hmm.
And puts it in our face. I mean, it's the same thing with, there's this new sitcom that's just started on ABC called Fresh Off the Boat.
Yeah.
And God help us, we probably should have a sitcom with some Muslim Americans on it, just doing normal stuff.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Being silly and ridiculous and human beings. And, I think the more we see people of another group, whether they be gay, a different religion, different race, as leading lives similar to our own, it inevitably pulls down and breaks away some of our biases, some of our mistrust, some of our, and eventually dislike. Because a lot of the dislike, I think, we feel for other groups, we say homophobic. I don't know if we're really afraid so much as just unfamiliar, and we reject things which are unfamiliar. So I think Modern Family, other shows where gay characters are represented not necessarily as like superheroes or bastions of wonderfulness, but just normal people.
Yeah,
I think it's hugely valuable.
I want to speak of my own journey. My brother's gay, and some of my closest cousins are gay, and even 5-7 years ago, as gay marriage was becoming the issue, and I thought I was a happily married heterosexual male. I thought, no, I'm just not comfortable calling that marriage yet. I'm all the rights, all that stuff. I wasn't there yet, and I don't know where the tipping point came for me because there's no catharsis. But at some point, it just why not? Why not? You jackass, I say to myself.
You were a jackass.
Yeah, I
What?
still am.
I don't understand the issue there. I don't understand.
Compartmentalized jackass. But, I mean, now it's just, it doesn't make sense to me. And I'm pretty outspoken about how it's the right thing to do. I don't know what happened, but there was a tipping point in our culture.
Come hug me, Chuck. Give me a hug.
Was there a particular, you say you don't know. Did you become more closely acquainted? Did you just spend more time thinking about it? Did you just, as you self-examine?
Yes. Well, doctor.
Is it tabula rasa, or do you not know what happened?
In a world where Chuck's not an asshole.
That world does not exist.
Chuck doesn't hate his fellow.
Chuck hates his brother. No, I don't know what it was. I think it was just I think it was people like you and people that got the movement going and just made it such a part of our consciousness that you couldn't deny it. It just, there was no logic behind it. Not to mention my marriage was falling apart even 5 years ago, and I thought, why can't gays be as miserable as me? Yes.
Why can't we can be just
Yes.
miserable as you guys?
And you talk to Rosie O'Donnell. She's getting divorced again.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
well, I want to ask you a few more questions about your voiceover. Now, you were mentored by, changing gears, of course. You were mentored.
Fontaine?
Yeah, you were mentored by a very well-known, prolific voiceover artist. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name.
Don LaFontaine.
Don LaFontaine. You laughed at me. I had the name.
Oh, nice.
Referred to him. There you go. As the godfather of voiceovers. He really, almost single-handedly, defined the sound that we use when we speak in voiceovers now. Before Don, in the 40s, 50s, 60s, it's a film you will love. Exciting scenes of drama. That kind of thing.
That's great.
Don,
I like that.
Don came along and he pulled it way back. And we started thinking about, in trailers. And Don's from Minnesota, too, by the way.
Yeah. Up north.
I did not know that.
Wow.
Yeah, and he I followed a similar path to him. Started working in radio and then started working on trailer stuff and moved out here.
I can't imagine fishing with him. I just caught a walleye.
It was brilliant. It bit my line. It's the best walleye I'll catch today. But anyway, Don pulled it way back, made it more intimate, put a sneer and a menace in the drama stuff and a whimsy in the children's stuff. And my instrument is somewhat similar to his.
Yeah.
I don't want to say, it's not the same, but so after he basically spent, a decade, 2 decades defining this is how we do it now, then a few of us kind of stepped in and he shared a bit of the spotlight, and then he died, unfortunately, tragically, a handful of years ago. And I still feel like I'm playing catch-up, to try to be as good at what I can, as good as I can be, at what my mentor did fantastically for so many years.
Do you do characters? You did one there, the 1940s newsreel guy. Do you do other voice characters?
Very few. I've done tiny bits of like video game animation and stuff. Most of what I do is character announce. It's not unusual that I would start speaking like this, and then the director would say, I'd like him older, I'd like him younger, I'd like him more sort of southeastern U.S., I want him flatter, I want him Texan, I want him British, I would like him to come from Minnesota.
And you can do all those if the director says that?
Well, I don't do dead-on. I'm not, Rich Little, but I can add shadings and color.
I want to hear English. I want to hear an English Ben.
English, well, if I added just a little bit of English, not a ton, just a little, I would speak like this, and it would be still primarily American, but with a bit of a twist, just a sort of a
snotty nose,
a color, a snottiness, yes. And then if I was taking it smaller, we could be talking about a brilliant film that opened in Britain and moved here, and the critics could love it, absolutely love it.
Oh my gosh!
Your voice is iconic, and I forget that as I sit in a movie preview, or I hear your drops for some of the networks. And that's Ben. That's Ben.
That's Ben.
I know him.
Yeah.
I've been thrown out of 3 theaters doing that.
That's Ben. Yeah, because the name of your
at my house.
You got to understand the name of his penis is Ben. So that's Ben. Hey everyone, that's Ben.
And this is a G movie.
I knew him in high school.
Oh, cop gets arrested again.
Yes. My manager sent out a promotional postcard maybe a decade ago. And I was at the peak of a sort of bodybuilding, and they were trying to sell for voiceovers, but the tagline they put on it was, "We've got a huge Johnson."
What?
No, definitely how you should sell a voice.
Yeah. Well done. You do a lot of modeling still, don't you?
Here and there, dude. I'm turning 46 this year, so it's
Bite me, Ben.
I do it, and the thing is, the modeling that I have done has not been like standing around looking sharp in a suit. It's been swimsuit and parade around in your cha-cha. So not a whole lot of people, even if you're reasonably fit and robust at 46, want to look at a 46-year-old running around in his cha-cha. So I still do stuff here and there.
Do you?
And I've got a book coming out soon, so I'll have to promote that and try to scare up some covers and stuff.
Can you tell us about that now?
Yeah.
Well, yes, I can. It'll be my 5th book. The one that's currently out in bookstores is called If the Rains Don't Cleanse, and that's available at Amazon and your local bookseller and BN. And that's a recounting of my parents' ridiculous, horrible experiences as missionary school teachers in Africa in the 1950s.
Oh,
the
wow.
Rainstone Climbs. And the new one that's about to come out is called Splinters, and that'll be from Dreamspinner Press. It'll be out this summer. And it's about a remarkably dysfunctional family, but it's full of optimism and hope.
So you're a novelist, and
I'm a novelist.
oh
yes,
my
a five-time
God.
novelist.
The only thing he can't do is fix a faucet.
Oh wow.
Or apparently walk down the hallway without running into things. I'm also God's clumsiest creature.
Do you still
I can barely drive.
do you go after acting gigs? I know at one point acting was a thing back in your youth.
Yeah, now and again, but the voiceovers keep me so busy. The challenge is this. If you book, let's say, a guest role on CSI or something like that, they want you there for 5 days for 8 to 10 hours a day.
Yeah.
And for each day you get the SAG minimum, the Screen Actors Guild, that's our actors union, minimum fee for that day. But it completely precludes me from doing any voiceovers on those days. And I have regular daily or at least several times weekly gigs with this network and that provider and this and that, that it would be very, very not okay for me to be unavailable like that. So I can only do television roles and film roles if it's weekend shoots or, you know, if they can get me in and out in 3 hours or that sort of thing. So it becomes a bit of a heavy lift. But I still do do stuff. I'm going to be in a new high-profile web series that's coming up that I'll talk about more once it's actually out.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so I do some, but mostly I just sit in my house and do voiceovers.
Do you still do stuff for news? Here's the one you did for CCO. Cute. These squirrels were killer.
They're playful. And they're taking over.
We have way too many of them.
They'll attack you.
They kind of get more aggressive.
So what is the squirrel situation?
Yeah, I'm still wondering that. It's been several years since we did that, and I still want to know what the damn squirrel situation
What is
They never told me.
They're nuts, I tell you.
I do some news stuff. I'm actually the exclusive voice now of Bloomberg for the radio and TV and web stuff. Cool. Which in Minneapolis, St. Paul, there's not a full-time Bloomberg station, but I'm trying to think where the news updates do air in the Twin Cities, and then we have full-time stations around and the cable stuff. So that pretty much precludes me from doing other stuff because of the contractual. But I will occasionally do news drops for like WRC Washington or New York One in New York, that kind of thing.
What is your day like? Because as I see on the internet, you're at your studios actually in your house. You don't have to travel.
No, it's great. I have a full professional studio at home, which you could put a marching band parade outside the window and you wouldn't hear it. And I just figured also that, if I'm going to be spending so many hours a day in my booth, I want it to look like, I want it to be comfortable.
Yeah.
My day is I get up real early, go to the gym, try to knock that out.
Nice.
And then I'm just here. Sometimes I have as much as a day's notice ahead of time for a recording session. That's seldom, though. Usually it's 4 hours or, hey, when's the quickest you can record something in 15 minutes. So I'll do anywhere between a real slow day would be maybe 3 or 4 voiceovers, and a very brisk day would be 15 or so.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, but the session, and again, the sessions can be anywhere from 30 seconds long to maybe 20 minutes, half an hour. So it's not like, ridiculous, huge hours.
Yeah, and you're making.
You heard Night at the Museum. He said 2 sentences for Night at the Museum.
He makes thousands of dollars a year doing this too, guys.
Really?
Just,
Thousands.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Thousands.
Doing it.
That's crazy talk. Did your paths ever cross with Tom Bernard, our voice of God here in Minnesota?
Very occasionally, they used to. When I was back there doing stuff, and I think the last time I was back and I was doing some stuff in the studio. We just happened to be there, and he wandered on the hall. He said, "Hey, hey, how's it going?" Good, it's great. And he said, "Gotta leave now, or I need to have you killed." So
what?
So that was, I ran out, and hit him in the car
because he's got that signature voice as well.
Yes, he does. He has, and he also, not maybe to the same extent as Don LaFontaine, but in his own way, defined a sound and helped change the paradigm.
What did you do at KSTP?
KSTP, I was first when I went to work there as quite a young'un. I was creative director, And then I continued to just do voiceovers and contribute stuff for another 20 years after I left and was out here.
Holy crap! Wow. So you were a creative director while I was there.
Wait, when were you? I was there like in 90 through 92.
I was there from 1983 until just last year.
Jesus, so
wow.
So we must have crossed paths, but not crossed paths.
Yeah, well, it's a big building, and I was mainly the morning show, and I would try and run out the door at 9:01 a.m.
Oh, see, that's the deal, because I was over on Highway 61.
Oh, okay.
That building.
Gotcha.
That's why I can disavow all knowledge of seeing you there, and I will continue to.
Well, as you should.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
what was Chuck like in high school?
I know. I wanted to know that too.
I want some dirt on Chuck here. It's got to be an easy.
I had a tough time in high school, and Chuck was one of the. It's hard to get. This is not much of a distinguishment. It's faint praise, but Chuck was one of the people who didn't mess with me. Give me a hard time in high school. Chuck was decent. Chuck was a nice guy. I have a feeling that
I'm giving the Chuck music.
Rewind stuff and go back. That Chuck and I would be probably good friends
if
back then.
not
I think at that
lovers.
point we were still kind of in our own orbits.
Yeah.
But I remember Chuck being a good guy, just a good guy, solid.
Thank you. Thank you.
The soothing Chuck music I'm playing now.
A good guy with a mohawk.
You had a mohawk, Chuck?
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah.
What grade was that? I don't remember that.
9th grade, and then I started getting beat up myself a lot, and I decided maybe I should transition out of that a smidgen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you became a cop, and then I just started shouting at people.
Yeah, exactly. Payback.
Yeah.
That's
what were you like in high school then, Ben?
Oh my God, I was hopeless. I was a choir nerd. Who talked too much. It was too big, talked too much, ran into everything. My attempts at humor just never connected, and so people looked at me like, "What? Are you mentally troubled here?"
Did you know what you wanted to do at that point? I suppose.
Oh yeah, no, I knew from age like 5 or 6 that I wanted to be in media and broadcasting and film and television and writing and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, good.
What a career you've had so far.
Yeah,
look forward to seeing what you're doing
congratulations.
next.
Thank you so much. I've been really, really blessed with opportunities over and over and over again. So I feel like I'm one of the luckiest people walking around.
And we're very lucky because evidently you actually recorded some Twin Cities hit shows.
Yeah, thank you. Merry Christmas, Twin Cities hit show.
What would Mr. LaFontaine sound like doing bingo at a VFW in northern Minnesota?
Let's see. B17. B21. Moving on. And he would give you the icy stare of death.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thanks, man, and it was a pleasure meeting you, even though
pleasure.
Not in the flesh, but next time in L.A., because as I mentioned, Steve Levitan's my friend.
Oh, God.
Yeah,
well, I know Ben Patrick
Come out
Johnson.
here and let's all go to lunch or something.
Yeah. Exactly.
So LA, and it kind of is.
Courtney's
Courtney's
treat.
Let's do it.
Courtney's treat. Hey, if you don't mind, tweet this out for us. It'll help us, and of course, our huge numbers will help you. The whole show appreciates your time today, and we really appreciate the work you've done for us too.
Absolutely. Yeah, just send me what to tweet, and I'll tweet it. I'm just a little robot.
Not your junk, Chuck. Last time I asked him to tweet something.
Yeah.
Last time it was his junk. And it was,
I can't help myself.
And he calls it Ben.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks,
Thank you,
Ben.
folks. Talk to you soon.
All right, there you go.
Take care.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. I'm tweeting at him right now. Tweet this, Ben Patrick 90069. I had the best time on the best podcast. Something like that.
Did you add the link?
I'm going to. Yeah, I'm typing it in right now.
We gotta get Sean. Sean is just. I can't turn off the soothing music.
Thank God. I need some soothing right now.
Soothe
me.
This is the warm fuzzy Chuck music.
People have often said that I should do voiceover work too.
Oh, Tibbin Man is
here. Man!
People have always said I sound like a voiceover guy.
Minnesota, of course.
Do it in a world. Do in a world.
In a world where pickles are your enemies, it's really the cucumbers that are to blame.
Damn cucumbers!
Damn.
All right. I found 1 minute. I found a way to stop the reflection music. We can get back on track. All right. So, you missed a good show, Sean. We talked to Jim Suhan.
I listened.
What did we learn? Oh, you did.
I listened while I was working.
And did it sound all right?
It sounded good. We had a little phone issue with Mr. Suhan.
Could you not hear him?
It just kept fading in and out. I'm wondering if it wasn't a cell phone problem.
Cell phone problems are serious down in Florida this
They
time
really
of
are.
year. Yes,
Jim
serious.
Suhan.
Ben sounded great, though. I mean, he must have been either on a landline or...
Yeah, he was on a landline, and his voice...
Little whistle goes a long way on microphones, just so you know.
So sorry.
So the Jim Suhan was unlistenable? Oh,
it was tough. We'll probably be editing that out in post.
We're
yes,
still,
please. Yeah.
we're still on the air. Let's talk.
All right,
actually,
we're
it's
like
a
giving
podcast.
notes on
It's
the
a
air.
podcast.
We have
all due respect, Jim, but your interview was brutal.
we have Tim Mahoney coming in tomorrow. It's 10:30. We're going to wrap things up, and it should be a good show tomorrow, hopefully. Right? You heard our song that we loved?
Oh, it was so awesome. I love the song.
All right. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Here's one of our theme songs, maybe. See you tomorrow.
Pissy shit show, pissy the show, pissy the show!